have some peer-to-peer advice. And our third stop, we're going to talk about, let's make it happen. Let's talk about some top trends in technology for insurance agencies and what's out there for you. We're also going to give you some cyber tips that every agency should know. In our last stop, we're going to talk about what it takes to be a leader and also some more new things coming at the U. But really very cool. If you go out to our website, go to ASNOA University and select the ASNOA University Roadshow, you can leave us a comment and tell us some areas that you would like to see during the virtual roadshow as well. So you have a voice. We want to hear from you. Some of you already got back to us, which is fantastic. And, you know, we just want to make sure we're addressing anything that you would like us to bring forward during that road trip. So sign up if you haven't done so already today. Watch for the invitation, or we'll be happy to send another one out to you right away. But we look forward to seeing you on the road.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kathy. So get registered because you don't want to be left behind on this road trip. Funny, right? All right, so just real quickly, we're going to share with you what's new with ASNOA. So you guys are receiving this newsletter. It's coming out bi-weekly. Please let us know because there is so much important information. It is really important that you are receiving these. You're going to see upcoming events for different carrier trainings. You are going to see Kathy's Corner where she's going to give you a whole bunch of information on what's coming up and what she's got going on. And ask Anissa. Anissa is always doing some great videos and showing you guys something very helpful in Epic. So that last one she just did was going to be on your training folder. So getting everything organized. I'm getting a pop-up here, guys. I'm really sorry. I got a slow connection. And I need everybody to turn off their webcams. That's the pop-up I'm getting from GoToTraining. So I am really sorry, guys. I am going to have to turn off the webcams or I'm going to keep having this issue. All right, Kath, is that good? Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes, we can hear you. And
all
then
right, perfect.
Looks like there's one webcam still on.
Okay.
Okay,
all
we're
right,
good.
guys. All right, so the newsletter, please make sure you're getting it. If not, email us at training@asnoa.com. Let us know. Very important. All right, here is our ASNOA Facebook group. This is a private ASNOA group where you can come on, you can ask any of your questions. If you want to know where should you place this type of business, or where can you find different documents or anything that may be related to insurance, or if you just want to come in and say, hey, that was a great live with Laura, everybody, don't forget to join August. I would appreciate that as well. So if you are not a member, go into Facebook, Google, write in that search ASNOA private group, and we will accept you as your membership. So go ahead, do it right now. We'll just wait. I'm just kidding. All right. So if you guys are not following us on our social media platforms, go ahead and do so and look at all the information that Madeline posts. She does a fantastic job giving out all of this information that's relevant to insurance or to getting our name out as ASNOA and all of the different things that we are doing. So you can go in and you can share all of our posts and put them on your own social media platforms. You can also go out into any of the carrier websites and they have posts available for you to put them on your social media account. So please follow us and we will greatly appreciate that. Get on that Facebook private group. All All right, so with our states that are slowly opening up and others are getting hit hard, just know that ASNOA is here for you. We are here for extra training, chat about ideas that you might need to implement within your agency if everybody is working from home. Kathy has put together some great articles on working from home and how to implement that within your agency. We're here to do more education, give you more knowledge. All of our trainings are free to our agents, and this is part of our ASNOA advantage. So remember, we're all in this together. We're all going to stay healthy. We're all going to stay strong, and we're going to continue to grow our business. At the end, this doesn't mean it's over. At the end, please fill out the evaluation. Let us know what you want to see in upcoming Live with Laura's. Everybody is always throwing out ideas. It's fantastic. I love to hear what you guys do like about them, what you don't like about them. So please fill out the evaluation. All right, so thanks everyone for our panel for joining today. Remember, chat in your questions. Anybody on the panel can share their ideas and their thoughts. Anybody in our audience that is listening, please chat in what you're doing as opposed to what other people are doing, and we can all learn from one another. So I'd like to introduce Brad Jones. Thanks, Brad, for joining today and sharing your successful plan with all of us.
You bet. You bet. Thanks.
So first,
go ahead.
That's awesome, Brad. Thank you so much. It's very exciting to have you on with us. So hey, Brad, can you walk us through how you get your team knowing your agency's core values front and back so they can sell to anybody?
You bet. I think that's, just lots of friends in the business and whatnot. I think that as insurance agencies, we overlook the fact that, we are a business, no different than a Fortune 500 company or anything else. And what those companies drive is culture, and culture is a big piece of our agency. It defines who we are, how we act, how we feel internally as a group, and how we feel externally to our clients. And so our core values in our agency are accountable, competitive, honorable, educated, and considerate. And I think it's important that, an agency, you drive those factors, you reward, you hire and fire based upon your core values. So with those core values, everything we do is in the client's best interest. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to have no fear when we're prospecting, just due to the fact that whenever we are prospecting, sometimes we're reluctant from time to time and we fear being told no. But the fact is that probably what that client that you're afraid to prospect, they have a pain point of driving a vehicle with $50,000 in liability insurance. And I feel like, and my team feels like, we have an obligation to help that individual. And if we don't ask, we don't get an opportunity to help. And that individual may be worth, $100,000, or they may be worth, $15 million. And we see it in a lot of different ways with lack of coverage, just because it seems like most agencies that we see deck sheets from, they're more interested in matching price and dumbing down coverage to win on a commission. And we kind of do it the opposite way. We sell a lot of policies high, but we bring value. And price is important, but price is only a component of value, and it's a small component of value. So I think getting past the price and focusing on the value really helps in your prospecting and your confidence, and that you're really doing good by people.
That's awesome. I got a question for you in regards to prospecting. So what is your best method of prospecting?
So we do things different, and there's not a right or wrong way. I've got friends that, they spend a ton of money on leads and they do well. We take a different approach. We are really face to face. And I've had, big agencies argue with me and say, how do you have time to be face to face and meet people at their houses and get out and do all the things that you do? But the return on investment, that I found is incredible, because whenever you're able to communicate with a client and show them your conviction and your passion for what you do, and it's in a face-to-face manner, one, you're able to read their just their tonality, their body language and whatnot, and be able to pivot off of that to, handle objections and whatnot. But, face-to-face is our magic. That's just what we do. We want to be face-to-face with as many people as we can. It is a little bit challenging with this COVID stuff, but you know what? Technology has filled that gap, and we're able to meet with people virtually. So prospecting, everything we want to do is and try to do is face-to-face. We do, push for those referrals. We've got a new metric that we've implemented with our producers and with our service team. Every client needs to equal another client. And, there's a million ways to doing that. It's just listening to your customer as you're intel gathering prior to quoting them, and asking them if they've got friends and family in the area. And just, people like to talk about themselves, so it's building rapport, and you're able to intel gather. So if she's got mom that lives next door, after we're able to help this person, I'm going to ask her, well, hey, how about mom? I'd like to get her number and help her the same way I was able to help you. So that's a new metric that we're driving, is a referral from every client. And, just the face-to-face, wherever we can be in front of people. And if you think about it, you're at your kid's ball game. You may be at be with your church group on a deal. And I'm not saying that you go to church to get business, but everywhere we are in front of people. And if we don't take the opportunity to ask for their business or earn their business, they're not going to get on their knees and kiss our feet and just beg us. And the people that are the people with major pain points that typically are going to be hard to place somewhere. And kind of a lot of times the client we're really not looking for our agency. So face-to-face is a big deal. We want our producers out in the community. Our commercial producers, their metrics are to, cold drop in on X amount of businesses, depending on the producer. We kind of, everyone's a little bit different. But that's just what we do. And we do it in a lot of different ways. Any community function we can be at, give away a Yeti cooler, raffle it off at the bottom of the little paper that they fill out for the raffle. It says, it's okay for us to contact them. So, those are just a few things we do, but we could spend several hours talking about marketing strategies and whatnot, but I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely does. Is there any best time to prospect, let's say, personal lines clients as opposed to commercial lines clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So every industry, and what I found, okay, if you're going to be chasing restaurants, I like to be pulling up and dropping in cold anywhere between that 9:30, depending on the owner and the type of restaurant, anywhere between that 9:30 to that 11:30. Because I find that the restaurant owners, a lot of times, that's kind of their time to go in there, make sure, check with their managers and whatnot, and your chances of catching him are better at that time. The same thing with hotels. You'll see it's typically going to be a little BMW. It might be a Toyota Corolla or something like that, and it's parked out in the front like it owns the place. That's when the owner's there. If you see that car there a couple of days in a row, and his time frame. So the mornings are going to be a good time for those. I don't like to prospect businesses on Friday afternoons, because typically, they're going to cut out, go hit the golf course, or do their personal stuff and enjoy the freedom of being self-employed. I also don't like to, as far as the personal side, it is a higher turnaround ratio to actually getting a hold of the client in the late evening. But I always put myself in their shoes and think, at the end of the day, my brain it's done, and I do not want to take on what I call rock, a rock in my backpack. I don't want to take that on at the end of the day and look at solving problems. So I'm going to be more apt to say, no, I'm not interested, after I've already just beat myself to death all day long with all the responsibilities and kids and everything. So, door to door is not out of the question. It's like, well, my community don't let me because we're not allowed to solicit. But what's wrong with walking up and just saying, hey, I want to introduce myself. We do a lot of business in the area. and beautiful house, just wanted to say hi, what's your name, whatever. You're just introducing yourself. Well, what that does, they're like, well, great, nice to meet you, you're able to leave. Well, who are they going to think about next time they need insurance? You really wasn't soliciting, it was an introduction. I'm the neighborhood insurance agency, and just wanted to introduce myself, do a lot of stuff here. If there's anything we can do, let us know. It's not a hard sales pitch, anything like that. It's a friendly draw. So that we could go into that a long time too, but I hope that is, I know we're limited on time, so I'm kind of trying to keep some of these short.
Oh, no, Brad, we love hearing everything that you have to say. So we appreciate your answers on all of it. So you're talking about getting your leads, getting your prospects, reaching out, going face to face. So now what do you do with that? You were talking, when you and I were talking before, we were talking about your workflows and your onboarding checklist.
Yes.
Where do you go with that with your producers and your CSRs?
Absolutely, and it goes back to running a business versus running just an insurance agency. And everybody's going to be different. Someone may be satisfied running an insurance agency, but we're looking to run a business. So we have systems and processes for everything. The first thing that happens, let's say the producer gets someone that's willing to quote. The first thing they do before they're allowed to put that information into Easy Links or put it into a commercial carrier portal or whatnot is they have to get that entered into Epic as an opportunity, because then our sales our management team is able to track close ratios, where this is, what's happening with it, can I help you get it closed, what's the hang up, what's the objection, and whatnot. So, and then those close ratios, they give you a lot of data too, based upon, okay, does this person need some training, where's the hole? For instance, we had a great producer who is doing really good, but I knew his potential was a lot better, but his close ratio was low, and I could not put my finger on it. We were able to go through role play, some different closing techniques and whatnot to help him out. So we want to get that information into Epic first and foremost. After that, they go through and they quote. And so when they're going through and they're quoting, we do things different, and some may do it the same too, but just from what I see from friends in the industry, we do it different. We quote things as if the coverage applies, as if that accident is going to happen, not, like it's a fact, okay? So if the carrier offers a backup sewer and drain and they're hooked up to the city system, we're gonna have that included in the quote. We don't match apples to apples, never. Every single person that we quote is tailored to their specific need. And so whenever they go through, they add the coverages as if they are going to happen. And then after that, what they do, whenever they go into what I call the meeting two, meeting one would be the intel gathering stage. Meeting two is whenever they go in and present that Cadillac policy. Because that's another thing insurance agents don't realize is people pay more for more. And we're so price driven in our mind because we've got price guns on TV and we've heard our customers say it's too high. Well, they said it's too high because they cannot justify in their mind, and you haven't painted the picture of what it is they're actually buying. So if you think about a GMC Yukon, that customer can see, touch, feel the leather seats, the navigation, and everything in that thing. And the Bose sound system, everything. They can see those things. It's a tangible item, but an insurance policy is not a tangible product. So if you're unable to communicate and paint in your client's mind that picture, they are going to say it's too high because they cannot justify the value. So we build that policy really, really good. And what that allows us to do from an E&O standpoint is we're able to offer all of these coverages. And we have, DocuSign in the agency. The producers have to have quotes DocuSign if something's not, a customer doesn't want a particular coverage, or if they want to drop it down to 100, 300 versus $1 million single limit, or anything like that, they have to initial in that area that they've been educated. And our motto in our agency is education with options, and that comes from my past business I owned with a fleet of commercial vehicles. I loved my agent. His name was Lloyd, and Lloyd would hug my kids at church, and he's just that guy, you know what I mean? And I thought, if anybody's going to take care of me, it's Lloyd. And then one of my guys takes one of a brand new diesel truck out one night, and he drinks, and he causes serious accident in the truck. I have 30-60-25 with a company that's worth a lot of money. And I have all these trucks and all these assets. I had no idea I was even exposed. So that's kind of one of the driving factors that got me into insurance is if these jokers can make the money that they make, and they can do people like that and be uneducated and just not being competent individuals or professionals, I can get into this business and make a difference in society and sell things the right way. So that's how we've driven the culture of coverage. So in that meeting two, a lot of times, I would say it's a 50% close ratio in meeting two, because we want to meet in meeting two in the client's home, if at all possible, because whenever we're inside of a client's home or inside of a customer's business presenting, we're seeing things that we would not normally see. So we didn't even take into consideration his wife has this massive diamond ring and we're meeting her for the first time. And we didn't take into consideration that he's got some animals on the wall, so he must like to hunt. And so now we're asking about his guns and his other exposures or art, or we're seeing things, or well, maybe we need to change the cost guide to adjust to an actual reconstruction cost because the house trimmed to the T. Also meeting at the house, it builds rapport at a massive level. And so what we're able to do, they say, well, we need to do this, and you notice something that needs to be changed. We go back, we make those corrections, and we go back for what we call meeting three. And it's step three of the three-step process. And that's our closing meeting. That's after we went and we tweaked and we tailored right to the specific need. And so whenever we get into closing this, we're able to ask at the end, do you feel comfortable that I've done a good job tailoring this coverage to fit your need? And every single time that customer says yes. And then I'll ask, is this, do you feel like our agency can exceed your expectations as far as a service standpoint and being there when you need us most? Yes. Well, great. All I need to get it going is your checking routing number, and we just close it. So that's the process. After the policy's been closed, our producers do not process the policies, because I want my hunters to be great at hunting, and I want my skinners to be great at skinning. And whenever you have hunters hunting, or I'm sorry, hunters skinning, they're normally not doing a good job at it because they're built just differently. They're fast paced. They're not really all that organized a lot of times, and they've got a lot of stuff going on. So I don't want my customer calling one of our producers while he's driving down the road to an appointment asking for an insurance card, because it's going to create a poor customer experience because he's probably going to forget. So the CSRs, they process the policies for the producers, and then the producers have a checklist that I require a picture front and back of every house. I require, or we require, a lot of stuff that the carriers don't require. But what this does is it allows our CSRs to be a set of underwriting eyes on each piece of business, because if that inspection report comes back and our CSR caught that it was this much percentage of brick and this much rock, you know how they change things, and now the premium changes and the customer calls it a bait and switch and all that. We're able to eliminate those problems before they happen at that level. And then the CSRs, they have checklists that they go through as well to make sure all of those things are done, which include calling the customer, welcoming the customer on board, letting them know that everything has been processed. My name is, Alicia or Marty, and if you ever need anything, I'm your service representative, and we're excited to have you, and just that kind of deal. So that increases retention because it provides reassurance to the customer, because if you think about it, a lot of people, they don't switch insurance. 40% statistically have not switched insurance since they bought it for the first time. And if you think about that from a psychological standpoint, that is crazy. And so if you can nail down the reason why, and you can start to fill those gaps, you're going to close more business. So that was a lot of information really, really fast. And it was all summed up there, but that's kind of how we go through the sales process.
Hey, Brett, it's Kevin, and I think you had a good question there pop up while you were discussing that you're talking about how involved your CSRs and producer team is. Do they have some skin in the game financially, or do they have other motivations? It's just your leadership. What do they have as a motivation to get engaged and handle the referrals?
Yeah, so the CSRs, everybody in the office is incentive based. The CSRs are incentive based. They get money. We've got what we call Class A and Class B commissions. And so, you know, if they're able to solicit and bring in a piece of business, then we're going to pay them extra for that. So that does a couple of things. One, you don't have a CSR that says, well, I don't make enough money. Well, if you don't make enough money, it's your own damn fault, because there's opportunities that lay all around us. We're just not picking them up. You can write business. Everybody can write business. So even our CSRs, I call them customer sales and service representatives, or CSSRs. And yeah, they're able to acquire a referral. Now, whenever they do ask for that referral in our second call, we do a second call that I didn't talk about 3 days after processing a new business client. They're supposed to ask for that referral, and it's part of their checklist. And if they do acquire that referral goes to the producer who wrote the initial piece of business. And there's not an incentive for doing that. That's part of their salary to do that piece. But if they are just a customer's called in and they're processing a service request, and they say, hey, listen, we're really working hard to grow, and we want to know, do you know anybody that we could help the same way we were able to help you? And if they're able to get that referral, then they can chase that, write that, and get commission on that. So I hope that answers your question there. But everybody's incentive based. It can get lucrative for everybody if they're driving sales.
Good deal.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I really wanted to jump right in and ask Steve. So Steve, now that you've heard all of what Brad and his agency, what they do with their prospecting and their leads, can you let us know how you and your service with Lightspeed can streamline some efficiencies for our agencies?
Absolutely. So it's great stuff from Brad, and I think he's hitting a lot of stuff that some have probably heard over different times, but hearing it all kind of in one batch is great stuff, and I know he's got a lot more to offer in that area. But from the number one thing we can provide within the sales flow is really trying to automate some of the smaller tasks that are time sucks throughout the day, so you can really kind of focus on the thing Brad's talking about, getting the referrals, building the relationships, etc. Our solution can provide a great way to set out automated texts and emails, as well as a daily call plan. So, as you're building your prospect lists and cross-sell referrals, etc., whether it's renewal campaigns, whatever you want to do, our goal is to have the person, the producer, log in at the beginning of the day, and first of all, have a bunch of stuff already done, right? So text and emails would already be sent out on their behalf, but then really provide a list of phone calls and then a dialer to kind of work through those. So it's really trying to minimize the manual work to maximize the ability for an agency to build those relationships and sell. So that's really the main goal.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry I got some Wi-Fi issues here at the office if it's breaking up for anybody. But now I'm going to move my focus back over to Brad. I got a question. Somebody's asking, you were just talking about your CSR workflow and what you do 3 days after the sale, and they'd like you to elaborate a little bit more on that.
You bet. So the reason why I want our CSRs to make another contact after 3 days after is people, we assume they feel comfortable, and switching insurance, especially if they've not done it, and we focus on a preferred and high value client, and those folks are loyal. I just want that extra reassurance. And so what that conversation is just to call, to check in, to see if they had any questions about logging into the portal, make sure they were able to get on there and sign their electronic documents. And actually that third call, that's where they're hitting them up on that referral. It's really an appreciation call, double checking, making sure they were able to get their other policy canceled. It's just letting them know we care, and it wasn't just a, hey, we got your money, see you later kind of deal. So it's going to increase retention, and it also just allows the customer to feel comfortable with the CSR after dealing with a producer this entire time. And so I don't want my producers getting called by clients. I tell them, don't give them out your cell phone. I mean, you're going to get a phone call at 9 o'clock at night on an insurance card. It's stupid. We don't get paid enough for that. But you know, that's just kind of the reasons behind that. It's going to increase retention. The customer service is, I just think it's a higher level. How would I want to be treated? And we really drive, one of our goals is to provide a Ritz-Carlton experience and solve problems before problems exist. Because a lot of times they might not have been able to get on there and do that, but they haven't had time to call and complain to us that they weren't able to. But if we can be in front of that, it increases the customer experience.
Okay, so in regards to that, you're talking about not getting paid enough to be giving out your cell phone numbers. The question is commission versus salary. So are you paying your producers commission only or salary and commission? If you would like to share.
Yeah, no problem. So everyone's a little bit different. It depends on the talent level. You know, I have one of our producers, he come on, he worked at a corporate level, made a 6-figure salary, a very successful individual. And he was interested in what I call, and you know, you can argue all day long, well, you can't do 1099s as an insurer. We're not going to get into that. He wanted to come on as a subcontractor. I don't tell him what time to come to work. He has to pay an office fee unless he gets bonused after he hits a threshold. He doesn't have to pay the office fee. So we get past all that. So he's a commission only subcontractor to the agency. And I've got another one that's like that as well. And it depends on the individual. And only, this is very important, only put people on that kind of a structure if they have proven in their past that they are self-accountable enough to not need accountability, okay? Because that's why most people cannot be a business owner. Everybody's not, you know, business owners, and most businesses fail. So you have to, it all sounds great, you know, to set up that way, but you have to really study the individual, what they've accomplished, and just their responsibility level, because it's really easy to go and say, oh, I'm gonna pick up the kids and then I'm gonna get the wife some Starbucks, and then, oh, she needs me to go and run this. And then the next thing you know, your day, you didn't get anything done because you didn't have that self-accountability. Now, on the flip side, we have other producers that are a mix of salary and commission. Now, those producers, they don't get renewals, but they, you know, they hustle, you know, they can make 80,000, 90,000, or even 6 figures as well if they're able to put on the premium. And that's for the folks that need that extra accountability. They're talented people and coachable, and it just depends on the personality and the individual you're dealing with, is whether they're going to go straight commission or whether they're going to come on and as an employee take on a little salary plus some commission and help them out that way. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, exactly what we're going to be going over, Brad and Kevin, in August with the next Live with Laura. That's exactly what they're going to elaborate more on. So thank you so much for bringing that and talking about that, Brad, leading into the next Live with Laura. So real quick, can you tell us what you do when you get the no?
Yeah.
So you're not able to close the sale. Tell us what you do.
Shoot, yeah, you've got to understand, you know, I spend a lot of time reading. I like to read. It's just part of my day early in the morning. And so one of the things to be great at this business, I think you need to study, is just human nature and our psychology, okay? And so an analogy I always use is, if, let's say one of the guys, you know, or your husband, you know, you go into Dillard's because your wife needs you to get a new white shirt for an event. You go into Dillard's, you don't have a clue where the white shirts are, but as soon as somebody walks up to you and they say, can I help you find something, more times than not, you're like, no, I'm good. That's just human nature. And so whenever people tell me no, or yeah, I'm good, I've been with so-and-so a long time, or whatever else they throw at us, there's a bunch of objections we hear. You know, it's the level that we're able to handle that objection that's going to be tied to our success. And so what I found is, whenever someone says, you know, I've been with so-and-so a while, but I really appreciate, if they've got that tonality, I'm going to win. We're going to be doing business. But if the guy says, I'm with my cousin, I like it, no, okay, I'm going to move on down the road. I mean, I might try to keep going at him just for fun, but, you know, just a challenge. But, you know, you can kind of tell where someone is. But no necessarily isn't no, you know, it has to do with that tonality. And it's that instant autopilot subconscious reaction to the question that was actually asked. And they didn't even take into consideration the value proposition you were bringing. And so, you know, I could do a whole training on handling objections. I mean, that's something we all train on in our office. If we get a new objection, we want to get it down. And then we want to practice several different ways of handling that objection. But I'll throw a nugget out there, or a teaser, I guess. You always, everybody's always heard it, but do you actually apply it? Okay, if someone says, you know, I've been with my agent for 20 years and he's a great guy, you know, and we're good right now. You know, most agents are going to say, okay, I understand. You know, if anything changes, let me know, and they leave it at that. Where the best way to handle that objection would be to say, hey, you know what, I completely understand. You know, I've got companies I do with, you know, and I do business with, I'm loyal to. They do me a great job. And we have customers that wouldn't leave us for the world. So I respect loyalty. Okay, at that point right there, I've gotten on his level. And now I'm able to, what I call, loop back around and push my value proposition. But if I go in and all of a sudden throw something at him like, well, we can beat your rates, well, that's not going to get it done. You've got to empathize, agree, and put yourself in his shoes, and then you can loop into handling that objection. So yeah, objection handling is huge, and not taking no. No is not no. And I mean, you know, whenever you hear a tonality, someone says, no, I'm not interested. Okay, that tonality means no, they're not interested. If someone says, you know, we're probably going to stay where we're at, dude, they're done. They're closed. I will close that account because of that tonality. That they have given me a sense of uncertainty whether they're going to do business with me or not, and I'm going to fill that void to make them 100% certain that we are going to do business together.
Hey, Brad, it's Kevin. I want to throw kind of a quick plug regarding what you were saying to Steve here and give him a chance to speak to it, because there's two things that you said that I think need to be brought to light. One, you were talking about producer cell phones, and you know, you're not sure you want them taking their cell phones and stuff on night. You want the brand to stay centric. I think that falls right into Steve's category with what he does at Lightspeed and their ability to have, you know, numbers hosted where they can get forwarded to phones, and you can manage those contacts and how your producers and CSR teams are going to be able to leverage new technologies. And so I want to kind of throw that at you, Steve. And then also, secondly, all this coaching that you're talking about, Brad, because it's gold, it's absolute gold, right? What you're saying is like, but how do you find the time, right? You got to be right in the right time, in the right place to hear your producer conversations. And again, you can leverage technology, because I think Lightspeed's got that call recording too, where you can kind of, if you can just record your conversations of your team, you can play that back at any convenient time and then you can actually have that coaching session to ensure that they're doing what you were just talking about. So Steve, I wanted to kind of give you a plug in a moment to maybe speak to how that works with your system.
Yeah, no, it's great. There's a lot of the keywords, you know, Brad and you just mentioned really kind of fall right into that. So there's a great segue. Appreciate that. So, you know, from a coaching perspective, I'll kind of hit on that right off the bat. You know, there's multiple ways to coach with our solution. You can listen in live on calls, actually from anywhere, as long as you have internet access. And then you can actually whisper in if you have suggestions to make, or if for some unknown reason you have to barge in on a call, you could do that as well. And then portability is a huge piece of the puzzle, obviously, you know, even more so these days. But you know, or we do have a plug and play phone option where you have a physical phone on your desk, but you can also have what's called a soft phone, where it would be just a phone, basically a keyboard on your desktop, or you can download that onto your cell phone. Because the key is, to the point earlier, you don't want to have your producers giving out their cell phones. They leave the agency sometimes, et cetera. So they can have a main office number that forwards to the cell phone. And when you do that, the other additional benefit is, as Kevin mentioned with the recording, as long as it funnels through our system, it'll be recorded on the system, even if they're making and taking the call from their cell phone. If they were to use their cell phone, you know, their number and direct dial from their their Verizon phone, that would not be recorded. But as long as they use what we call the soft phone application, that would still be recorded. So there's just, visibility, and accountability was also brought up. You've got real-time call stats, who's on the call, who's on the phone, who's not, what's their call time for the day, how many calls they've made, and there's some leaderboard stuff going on there. Yeah, so it all funnels through nicely through the solution here.
I agree, Steve, with the recorded lines. Another great reason we have recorded lines at our office. Whenever our CSR makes a change, somebody says, hey, I want to cancel the red Dodge, or whatever. With that, she puts that and saves that phone conversation in Epic. Any coverage conversation or cancellation or complaint or anything at all that may backfire on us in any way, shape, or form from an E&O standpoint, any policy change is saved and uploaded into Epic under the customer's account. And so we don't have to send out, hey, we need to sign this cancellation. We've got that stuff and it's saved into Epic. That conversation's there that you said you wanted to cancel this vehicle on this day, effective, whatever, and all the details are right there in a phone conversation. So that saves us time and also protects us from an E&O standpoint.
That's absolutely amazing. Steve, that is excellent that you're able to record those conversations and use them as training within the agency. And you can also help out everybody that you are bringing on board as your producers, your CSRs, and get them absolutely trained on how you want them trained within your agency. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I want to thank everybody. I know I want to be cautious of everybody's time. I want to thank you guys, Brad Jones, for sharing his steps and his workflows. This information was fantastic, and I'm sure that our agents, our producers, and our CSRs have a lot of takeaways that they will be implementing within the agency. Brad, with your success rate, we should all be rethinking our sales workflows. And thank you, Steve, for sharing with us how Lightspeed Voice can offer so much needed efficiencies within the agency. In the follow-up email, I'm going to provide you guys with Steve's contact information, and you can reach out to him and learn more about Lightspeed. So this session was recorded, and we're going to send that with everybody in the follow-up. Share it with the rest of your staff. Don't forget to register for the next Live with Laura in August, where Kevin and Brad are going to be sharing with you and elaborating more about taking these workflows and bringing on producers and paying commissions versus salary. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to learn more about growing your business. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you coming on. I know that everybody is so busy, so this really means the world to all of us that you can share this hour with us. So thank you very much, everybody, and remember to always be epic.
Thank you.